No, I've been telling you all night this is a special show. It's the last of the big Monday reviews, at least on Fox Sports anyway, for the time being. And that means that we're going to bring all the big guns out. We're talking Serie A in just a moment, and when we do so, that we go to none other than Adriano Del Monte, who's joining me right now. He's alongside Mark Schwarzer. Adriano, good to have you with us. Let's quickly have a little look at what happened in Serie A over the last weekend, and then we'll break it down into a few of the key stories. So with 6 games played, whoops, we just lost the table there. Napoli really going great guns. They really are a good talking point. We'll get into them in just a minute here. Milan, we'll be talking about them as well. Inter were held by Atalanta in a highly entertaining affair. Juventus just about getting their win on, not something we've said all season long. And in the big Rome derby, 3-2 in an eventful encounter. There we are then. So it's perfect for Napoli so far. 18 to Milan's 16. Another further 2 back to Inter. And then those 2 clubs, Roma and Fiorentina, on 12 points. But we'll be talking about Lazio, of course, in the context of that victory. Before we break those down individually, Adriano, just give me your take on the season so far. I think I would say of all the major European leagues outside of England right now, I think Serie A is going to be the most competitive this season.
It certainly will, John, and we touched on that when we previewed the season a few weeks back, so nothing surprising about how this one has played out. Of course, Napoli, perfect, 6 from 6 for the second time in their history in the 3-point area. And look, it's a really exciting start. Of course, Juventus has been the big story, though. Of course, their struggles post-Cristiano Ronaldo, and that has certainly dominated headlines over here. But at this point, as it was 6 weeks ago, still impossible to predict who wins it this season.
But what we can do is enjoy it as it happens every weekend. Let's get into Napoli right now, because Adriano kicked off with them as well. You should. Table toppers, 6 in a row for them. That was reflected in the headlines. Cagliari, the latest team to fall to them. Osimhen was absolutely brilliant in this game, scoring, running everywhere. Let's have a look at the headlines from it before Adriano tells me what is so good about this side here. I mean, the idea of it was basically, there you go, the 6th wonder. Nicely done. Enjoyed that one from the Corriere dello Sport. OK, what makes them so good, Adriano?
Well, Osimhen is one of the keys, certainly. He was a player who was sent off within 25 minutes of the opening match of the season, but has just responded emphatically since. 6 goals across all competitions, 4 in Serie A, and he's one of 10 different goal scorers in the league already this season under Luciano Spalletti. It has been a phenomenal start for Napoli. Of course, look, they have played Juventus, a struggling Juventus, to be fair. 2-1, they did win that. Still a few of the other big boys to come, but you can only beat who's in front of you, and Napoli have done that in style. 3 consecutive clean sheets as well, the best defensive record in the competition, and a very stable squad looking very good to challenge a lot this season. I've been very impressed from what I've seen thus far.
Yeah, John, I think that's key, isn't it? I think he's made a couple of great points there, Adriano. The first one is stability defensively. I think we're going to see that from all the sides in Serie A this year. But that stable squad, you know, they know what they're about this side, and that might just see them through.
And I think as this is the last Monday show, I can really out you as a Napoli fan. Every single time we talk about Italian football, you have to get Napoli in there. But you're right, John. I think they're a little bit like you, John, a little bit rugged. But when they get frayed, they just dig in there.
Yeah, OK, fine. All right, then. OK, let's carry on, shall we? Napoli fan. What do we got here? We got Imran here saying, Osimhen's taken his game to another level. If Napoli were to go all the way, he would play a huge part in it. Yeah, that's the thing, isn't it? I mean, you spoke just now about his start to his life there, Adriano. I mean, you know, I don't think Serie A is full of superstars at the minute, but he has the potential to be special, doesn't he?
He does, and he came in on big money. Of course, last season was a tough one for him. His first year in Italy, he had COVID, he was injured, and it was a very tough way to adapt to life in a new country. But this season, despite that red card early on, he's showing all the signs of becoming an absolute superstar. And look, I've got no doubt he'll excel. He's proven himself in training quietly behind the scenes for Napoli. They were very confident that he would perform at this level. And with all of the other attacking quality around him, Napoli fans can dare to dream this could be their season. There's no doubt about it, with a player who can definitely score 20-plus goals this season in the league.
Let's talk about Milan right now. In a little while, we're going to come on to the family tradition that made the headlines this weekend. But it's Pioli, the coach, who, and again, we have to remind ourselves, it looked to all the world as if he was out. He was done not that long ago, but transformed the club, did superbly last season. Obviously, couldn't go all the way, but they've got off to a flying start and a great result against Spezia again at the weekend. OK, so how are Milan placed for you to sustain it this season, Adriano?
Well, I have to be kind to Milan. It is my city, and they have started very brightly. A positive start, 5 wins, 1 draw against Juventus, where they did come from behind there. Look, all signs positive for Milan. Another thing we did discuss when previewing the campaign, that Pioli was one of only 8 managers to retain his job this season from the last campaign, and we did feel that that would provide some stability to this young Milan team coming through. Of course, Maldini getting his first goal and his first start for Milan at the weekend. Sandro Tonali, the young, exciting midfielder, has really stepped up his game this season. Many here in Italy, well, pinning their hopes on he becoming the next big thing in the heart of midfield. And look, they are a very well-balanced squad, very strong defensively. Of course, Zlatan and Giroud with that experience up top, both still needing to get back to full fitness. But look, it is an exciting Milan team with that stability from last season, which I think holds them in good stead. And look, they've proven themselves thus far. So far, so good. Very impressive display as well in the Champions League, despite defeat at Anfield against Liverpool.
Yeah, and in that game, there were just a few minutes, just a glimpse of Daniel Maldini. And, of course, this is it. This is Maldini forever. This is the 3rd generation. Cesare, of course, with somewhat 300 appearances and then coaching them and then going on to the national team. Paolo, the legend, what was it, 674 or something like that. And, of course, we know all about him. And now Daniel, of course, is playing. There was another son who didn't quite break through, Christian. But there are now fans sort of saying, well, if this kid's good enough to play, then they have to make sure that his pathway to a regular starting place in this side isn't blocked. Is he going to be a star?
Well, the name is as iconic as it gets here in Italy. You mentioned Cesare, Paolo, now Daniel. Look, again, so far so good. He has impressed despite limited opportunities to this point. Obviously, once fully fit, Zlatan and Giroud will command a lot of the minutes there up top, but he has the opportunity to learn under the experienced Joe. He also has the opportunity to perform when they need to be rested. They're not getting any younger. We certainly know that Daniel, well, he will be a long-term Milan player if he can continue to contribute in this way that he's done so far. So all of the talk from those I've spoken to in the Milan camp are suggesting that he will be a long-term player at that club, and great to see him finally get that goal at the weekend. He spoke of his joy, and it was wonderful to see. And you obviously saw the scenes of Paolo celebrating in the stands as well. Wonderful scenes in Spezia.
Mark, can I bring you in this one? Okay, look, you know, to have 2 generations from one family, that's pretty special. 3, you know, in your experience of international and club football, have you seen this anywhere else?
I don't think I have. It's incredibly special, isn't it? I mean, there's not many places around the world you'll ever see that 3 generations will play for the one club. Let's hope, Daniel Maldini will go on to have, half the career that his dad has had and his granddad. So that'd be pretty amazing if he did.
Yeah, and the amazing thing as well is he actually plays at the other end of the pitch as well. So very, very special. Watch this space as far as that kid is concerned. Okay, let's move on, shall we, right now, and get on to a game that I paid particular attention to this weekend, and it didn't disappoint, rather. Roma 2 down inside 20 minutes. It turned to a real ding-dong affair. Mourinho got himself in a bit of trouble with some comments, but what's surprising about that? In the end, remember Felipe Anderson, his time at West Ham? He was a significant player in this one. Milinkovic-Savic brave with the first goal. Pedro, of course, discarded by Mourinho, and that was never going to surprise anybody. Crossing, of course, the other side of Rome and ending up on the winning side here. So many headlines here. And now they fly. Just Sarri with an eagle on his wrist, as happens. And Mourinho, of course, getting into a bit of trouble, having a go at the referee, saying he wasn't up to it. Right, pick that lot apart, Adriano. Great derby.
Typical derby. The Derby della Capitale is one that Lazio and Roma fans often say they'd rather win than actually win the championship. That's how important it is to them. Of course, for Mourinho, defeat in his first Derby della Capitale, very disappointing for him. But for Maurizio Sarri, after an indifferent start to the season, Lazio now starting to click, and a very important 3-2 win to get themselves back in the mix up the top there of the Serie A standings. And Pedro, you mentioned the player who did switch from Roma. He became only the 3rd player in the history of the derby to score for both clubs. So incredible given the Mourinho connection. Getting rid of Pedro, he moves to Lazio, and yeah, as is typical, they celebrate with the eagle, the mascot, after the match. So a derby that certainly had it all, and also a very rare derby because it was the first in 55 years without a Roman-born player starting in the match. But in any case, plenty of passion, plenty of entertainment, and always when Mourinho's involved, plenty of drama as well.
Yeah, you're right there. You know, the thing I liked about it as well, John, is, Adriano talked about the the non-Roman born players. What about non-Italian? Tammy Abraham. I like what I'm seeing from Roma. You know, I did have my doubts about Mourinho and everything like that, but they're playing pretty open football, and he's taken on the responsibility, Tammy, isn't he?
He certainly has. He looks like he's loving it. He's got a free rein, really. He drifts out onto the left-hand side, takes players on, looks very comfortable, seems to have adapted really, really well. The Roma fans like him as well. The Roma fans seem to be in love with Jose Mourinho because, you know, they like an edge to their football, and Jose's certainly going to bring that. But I'm with you. I didn't expect him to bring the fun.
Yeah, there you go. Long may it last. Adriano, we're just about done, I'm afraid. Look, thanks so much for popping up on this special show. Thank you for popping up over the last couple of seasons and working with us. It's it for this show on this channel right now, but I hope that we've added to your impressive display of followers and supporters, and all the very best to you, my friend. Hopefully our paths will cross sometime in the not-too-distant future.
Thank you so much, John, and wonderful work to you and all the team as well, and hope to see you again soon.
All right, well, that is Adriano signing off there. We're going to switch to German football, which means Rafa Honigstein is going to be joining us. He's the man in the middle there, and he's with us after this.